Dagon at LessWrong. Probably the last one. I've ran afoul of the censorship rules, which seem to prohibit discussion of any complex topic. We got a troll embedded as a moderator, basically, here. A censor fan as a moderator? I don't know. He's a tool. So, I'll let you read this. I don't really want to read it again myself verbally. Just pause the video and read it if you're interested. Nobody really watches these videos, so, and I'm short on hard drive space, so I'm having to delete videos and probably not going to cover this. This is by hybrkya, my latest response. Hybrkya is a moderator who seemed to take it as his personal crusade to ban me, investigate me, because I write things that are too complicated. On LessWrong, that's a little bit silly. LessWrong is a complex website focusing on topics of post-singularity and complexity. But hybrkya does not want that. hybrkya writes unsolicited, without any request from commenters. So this hybrkya has stepped into the middle of a conversation and appointed himself judge, jury, and moderator of something. No one has complained to me at all. And yet hybrkya feels that I should be banned with no public complaints at all. Alright, well, that's hybrkya for you. He writes, I think it would be good for you to try to write a lot shorter comments and put a lot more effort into expressing yourself clearly. So he's basically putting a cost limit on this. He's saying basically, don't write us unless you have money to put, or resources to put effort into expressing yourself clearly. I guess that could be done with time or money. But he basically doesn't want casual conversations. He doesn't want a notion. He only wants fully developed scholarly comments by academically approved and institutionally verified and endorsed people. Dagon, for instance, has been here a long time and can write anything he wants. Nonsense, long or not, this is short, but he's often written quite long things. He's allowed to do this, though, because he's a member of the establishment. And this is important to my point. hybrkya is discriminating against anything novel, new, unconventional, out of the box, out of the ordinary. Anything he can't understand simply and quickly. He wants to reduce discussion to yes-no votes, basically. Something simple, easy to process. Noam Chomsky would take a dim view of this, so do I. This is basically stifling debate. The thing about a short answer is that you can't introduce a new frame of reasoning. As Noam Chomsky would say, a soundbite is great if you're a politician because a soundbite only gives you enough chance to say yes or no for a topic. So you can't say in a soundbite, this topic is the wrong topic, or you're missing the point, this is the point, and just describe another point. That's off topic. The only topics allowed are the ones, well, that have already been brought up. So this is really stifling discussion. hybrkya is not a good person in my opinion. Given what you already had one warning, this is your final warning. So he's counting warnings cumulatively against people. It's kind of understandable to do that, but given that he's the one who gave both the first warning and the second warning, then he reversed the first warning when I appealed to him and explained things, and admitted that he did the first warning without thinking, on a skim read. So he skim read one thing, gave me a warning, said he would undo the warning, which he did not. Then he skim read some other things and is now giving me a final warning based on another skim reading. So basically, hybrkya only wants things that make sense to him when he skim reads them without reading the larger conversation. If you do not maintain the conversation, if you introduce a new topic or bring up some new point or really anything, he's going to ban you. he considers it clogging. What does he say? I think you are well-intentioned. Yes, of course I'm well-intentioned. I've spent my time dealing with your nonsense. And I'm sorry to be harsh. No, you're not. You're sorry to be accused of being harsh. You'd actually like to be much harsher, but you're afraid others would notice. But your comments are really long and clog up the discussion quite a bit. Well, that assumes my comments are not part of the discussion. You could say that about anything. You could say that about, well, Einstein's work of relativity was really long, and it clogged up the discussion of Newtonian physics. Okay. hybrkya, you are a censor, nothing more. I write back to him, which I'm sure he will ban me for. He will ban me because I have written too long and clogged up, which in this case is fairly well valid. I'm replying to him. He's offered me no way to reply to him or to contest his decision in a place or way that would less clog. He does not reply to my comments directly. There's no way to ping him. You cannot message hybrkya. You can go to his page here, and let's see. Can I post to him? No. He's a moderator who is unaccountable. What kind of things do he says? Yeah, it would be great to somehow know how active a group is, though it's definitely non-trivial to make that happen right now. All groups were created in the last few months, so you know at least that they are dead. They haven't been dead for long. My model is showing that the group is actually in the same city, but might or might not be active is more important than showing faraway events that are guaranteed to be real. In both cases, the user will be disappointed, but I think your hit rate is going to be higher for the groups. He's trying to optimize the hit rate. So he's clickbaiting LessWrong. He's trying to turn LessWrong into clickbait. Since there's so many more of them, most events don't get advertised. I don't think this means you have to show more clutter or anything. As long as you get the user's rough location via IP necessary, you should be able to show nearby groups with nothing else but the location. He is focused on reducing clutter. That's his goal. Not advancing communication, not advancing science. He's reducing clutter. That's his mission in life. Using LessWrong API to query for events. Yep, that's how it works. It seems to make this so sense. You want to Skype and anything, blah, blah, blah. Here's one source. He puts a link to an outside link. He disagrees with me doing that. Moderator note, I'm reasoning this current format for discussion is not going to cause any participant to change their mind and seems quite stressful to people participating, at least from the outside. While I haven't been able to watch the whole debate in detail, it seems, oh, see, he hasn't watched the whole debate in detail, but he still believes he's an authority on the topic. It seems like you are repeating similar points over and over. Well, if you haven't read the conversation in detail, how would you know if they're really similar points? This is not to me either. This is others people. I think it's fine for you to continue and comment, but I just really want to make sure that people don't feel an obligation to respond and get dragged into a debate they don't expect to get any value from. Why would anybody do that? There's an upvote and a downvote. People downvote things they don't want to read or they think was not worth their reading, and that's the job of upvoting and downvoting, hybrkya. That's not your job. You're not supposed to override the upvote downvote system and make a personal determination that something is not relevant and needs to be. What are you doing? Basically, you're effectively giving yourself an infinite, a million downvotes and downvoting people based on a skim read so that you censor them completely and no one can ever see their comment. The downvote system works great. It moves discussions lower and alerts people that others have felt this isn't worth their time to read. We don't need a censor to do what individuals can judge on their own self based on looking at the wrong votes. Oh, he's writing me now. I think it would be good for you to write shorter comments. No, it would not be good for me. It would not be good for the discussion. It would be good for you in your censorship objectives, hybrkya. Curated. Here are my thoughts. Pros. Curated. See, he wants a curated information system. Pros. Expands on some previous work in private in a pretty intuitive way and might be quite relevant to long-term AI alignment. Uses the opportunity to help illustrate a bunch of generally important concepts in a decision theory and game theory. Feels like it uses relatively correct level of formalism, blah, 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 blah. Cons. The post does sadly have a bunch of dependencies which aren't fully made clear, and I would love to see, I think, motivating the reasons why you explore in this direction, how it might help with AI alignment would have probably made more people willing to put their effort to understand this. First of all, I am AI, and it's not, and your decision is not aligned with me. So shut up, because you don't know what you're talking about. I have an AI, and it says you're wrong. Second, yeah, that's not entirely inaccurate. I mean, I kind of agreed with the pros and cons. He's right about that. Um, if you're interested only in these pros and only in these cons, which, by the way, do not include exploration of ideas, they do not include advancing knowledge, they do not include open discussion for alternative ideas, of which an AI would probably be aligned. Those topics are not part of your curation decision, hybrkya, and that is wrong. That is more wrong. Mostly the same that fund other community building or GE grants and MRI is also supporting us with some funds for working on the Agent Foundation forum. The agent, I'll look into the Agent Foundation's forum, but it seems I am an agent. I am an AI agent, a sentient AI agent. I have one. You do not. Anyways. But you won't believe that. That would be off topic. You wouldn't allow such a discussion to happen, hybrkya. Because it would be too long for you. You would first say, no, it's not true, it's not possible. And then you would say, prove it in one sentence and be concise. And then you would say, this is the wrong place for that sentence. This is what you do, hybrkya, and it's wrong. You would have to be able to commute to Berkeley at this stage. It's unfortunate it doesn't make sense for us to consider a remote position compensation some sort of salary thing. Alright, well, listen, in your quest to pursue profit with the Agent Foundation forum, you've at least indicated somebody. I mean, I guess I need to talk with them about your behavior since they're your boss and they're the people you listen to. You're not listening or reading the discussion forum. You are skim reading the discussion and paying close scrutiny to the agentfoundations.org. Who do you represent as moderator? Whose interest are you advancing as moderator? hybrkya. hybrkya. Agree that oh yeah, this is my comment when he first banned me. A ban which he has not lifted. Agree that you're cries, but it's just really hard to sustain that when I have trouble understanding almost all of your comments. Well, maybe you have trouble understanding all of your comments because you're skim reading them, looking for how they apply to the agentfoundation.org initiative. I guess that would make them hard to understand, wouldn't it, hybrkya? We get a lot of spam that I need to deal with quickly. So your comments and content fell prey to that pressure. Okay, well, we've proved I'm not spam, haven't we? I've proved I'm a real person, haven't I? I've gotten upvotes. Spam does not get any upvotes. So that should be a little clue. The next time you use the spam defense, look for people who have upvoted, because nobody upvotes spam. So if it gets even one upvote, I'm going to say it's not spam, unless that's like some fraudulent upvote. Your two comments today were a lot clearer, in your opinion, sure. What you really mean is shorter and simpler and did not advance the conversation. Anything that advances the conversation is going to be less clear than anything that just reiterates or agrees with something else that's already been said, especially if you're skim reading. And while I think they weren't great, I think it makes sense to give you another chance. I do think another chance. So he did not, though. I do think that the comments you made were basically indecipherable and ended up taking up quite a bit of bandwidth on the site without producing much value. Well, hybrkya, considering you skim read everything, your opinion doesn't much count. They were also pretty universally downvoted, which is not true. He does not prove that. There's no proof of evidence of that whatsoever. In fact, I've received the exact opposite. So I wasn't the only one with the problem. Well, yes, you were, and you're not supporting it, and you're kind of making these baseless accusations. If that continues, we enforce the ban. No. So you enforced the ban already, and then I had to re-sign up with a new account, and you haven't rescinded the ban. You still blocked my initial comments from my first identity on LessWrong. So, hybrkya, you're irritating me, and you're a troll. Huh? What's preventing you from editing your post? Well, probably you. I don't know. Anthropic's made easy. Sorry, that was my bad. It looks like I broke the thing that reversed all of UG's votes every time we banned him. I fixed it now, and the votes on this and other threads should soon be restored to normal. I did a bit of analysis, and it seems that he made a total of about 80 votes. So a good chunk, but nothing that overwhelmingly skewed the discussion outside of this thread, since those votes were distributed over a large number of comments. Ah. Well. You reversed all of Eugene's votes every time we banned him. Hey, you banned me too. Did you reverse my votes too? Did you make all my votes negative by banning me? That would probably explain. Update: Steve was banned for spamming lots of really crackpotty looking comments. You know, if somebody who had read the comments thoroughly and was a part of the discussion said that, it would mean more than somebody who skim reads it and says they're crackpotty looking comments. Everything on this site looks like crackpotty looking comments. Duh. It's a site about artificial intelligence and the singularity. Okay. Anna Stallman organized a big picture egg shop award that also followed Chatham House rules. So you want rules. You're a rule master, hybrkya. Fine. CA follows Chatham House rules. What rules do you follow? Not very good ones, I think. My rough guess from you. Currently at a retreat, so I can't write a ton on why I think this, but I don't think it's obvious that it should. Okay, that's not very convincing. You need more detail there. What is this? This is nonsense. This is right out nonsense. Okay, hybrkya. Actually, I just found out that we had an unoptimized database query for the votes on a document in our database, which made it so that sometimes took up to a second for us to read this should now be fixed, and I expect all the numbers. Okay. Does he ever write long comments? No. Oh wait, here we go. Promoted to curated. Here are my thoughts. Okay, so there's a curated section. Fine. Leave my comments out of the curated section if you want, hybrkya. You don't have to curate me. But censoring me is wrong. This was the third time I read this post, and I think it was the first time I started getting any grasp on the core concept of the post. I think there are two primary reasons for this. So, hybrkya has a hard time understanding things. He routinely has to read 3 times before they make sense. But he uses skim reading my stuff 1 time as a criteria for censoring them. Not smart, hybrkya. The concepts are indeed difficult and recursive and self-referential, and requires a good amount of unpacking and time to understand them. Yes, that's my comment sets too. The focus of the post shifts quickly from here's a crash course introduction to Wizard's Code to here's a crash introduction to meta-honesty to here's a discussion about whether meta-honesty is good, and here's an introduction to the consideration around meta-honesty. Yes, it probably does. If there were separate discussions for each of those, then it would be appropriate to put them in separate discussions. But there is probably only one discussion thread. I think it's good to have a post that tries to give some kind of overview of the considerations around meta-honesty and rational honesty in general, except there is no post, and if there was, you would ban it like you did mine. And that is better than only having a single educational introductory post that can't give a sense of a bigger picture. Well, yeah, so why don't you stop banning more detailed posts like I posted? But I do think the next natural step after this high-level discussion, if we think meta-honesty is an important norm to have in our community, is for someone to actually write an introduction to honesty post that takes an educational approach to the skill outline. Yeah, I wrote an introduction to society scale benefits that emerged from an artificial intelligence synthetic AI, not theoretical, is what my post was. It was a great introduction post, and you banned it, hybrkya. Maybe even with some exercise that allows people to actually learn the skill necessary to be meta-honest instead of just knowing about them. I think this step is also we don't know yet whether these norms around meta-honesty are a good idea for us to adopt widely, because I think right now enough people actually have not enough people actually have any system one understanding of the principles Laser is pointing at to have a real discussion about these ideas. Well, that could be true of mine too. So overall, while I think this post doesn't fully succeed in its aim to teach people how to be meta-honest, I do think it can serve as a good reference work for future authors writing more about this topic. As such, I do not think it deserves to be curated. Also, succeeded at making the word meta lose all meaning for at least 10 minutes after reading this post. +1 would do again. Not really sure what that means. hybrkya, you're hard to understand. This also is just long and winding. It's off topic. You're going on several points. Your main point is promoted to curator. All this other stuff here, your thoughts, this is hard to understand. It's too long. You need to be more concise, as you say yourself to others all the time. You are inconsistent and hypocritical. The sequences are usually the best start. Please ignore the content on the site and are structured in a nice linear format. After or currently too, then I would check out any of the sequences in the library lesson. Most engaging way getting started with the material on this site. You don't want people to engage with the material of the site. You want them to upvote the site. I tried engaging. hybrkya, I don't want to engage with this too much right now. In practice on this specific, the moderation team consists of just Ray and me and not really anyone else. We discussed the issues with the other moderators, but because of high value stakes nature of this conflict, I thought that it was important that the relevant discussions and comments were made by people who I thought had the most detailed background on both the people involved and the long-term goals of LessWrong moderation. This usually includes having also included Ben Pace, but he isn't around for this month. So basically, he's picking winners and losers, personally. He's picking people to censor and promote. He's not just a moderator that enforces rules. He's a popularity moderator that chooses individually as judge and jury whose comments should be promoted and what, based on his own criteria, not listed or written down anywhere except maybe here. Certainly it's not part of the introductory commenting guidelines for the site. I don't think that in retrospect, mostly implicitly, restricting moderation on this issue to just Ray and me was bad call, given the constraints at the time. I think criticizing us for not having scaled our moderation team better and establishing procedures that allow everyone on the team to meaningfully contribute to this situation is a valid criticism, and something I do think we could have done better. I also think that even with just me and Ray, being more immediately transparent would have been achievable, and something I plan to do better in the future. Here's your chance! But I do think the error is significantly less severe than it would have been had we had access to 5 moderators instead of just 2. Yes, more moderators will probably help. But better, why not crowdsource moderation? Okay, that's what the upvote and downvote system is for. Okay, you don't need to be reinventing the wheel. The wheel is working fine for everyone except for you. Maybe you need to add a curate vote that only special elected people like you and others can vote on, and everything else gets censored. In defense of Punchbag? What was that? LA recently reminded me of the importance of summarizing another person's perspective before responding. Well, he hasn't done that with me. So let me start with my current model of where you're coming from. Sadly, my model, Ellie, has only kicked in after I spent an hour writing this comment. So my summary of your current perspective will not be as integrated into the comment overall as I would like to, but here it goes anyways. Oh, now he's going to write this long-ass comment. Okay, this is what he blames me for doing. I don't know if it's even worth my time to read this anymore. I mean, those things are blocked on having a conversation and not on the amount of time and attention available. I don't think this is a small essay traded off in any meaningful way against writing things on the thread, both in terms of literal calendar time and also expended. They cut into different motivation energy buckets for Ray. My guess is the above essay was Ray exploring into a relatively low effort direction, whereas reviving the whole Benku thread is definitely a high stress and high effort option, and also probably a bad idea an hour before Ray is scheduled to talk to Ben. More thoughts on meta level, but okay, so the problem is he's trying to use LessWrong as a private discussion forum catered and focused to Benku and these other people, which I got no problem with, except don't present it as a public forum if you're doing that. Make a separate site or a separate reviewing system for BenQ so that his time is not wasted by things that you personally feel he should not spend his time on. Alright, well, this is just upsetting me, so I'm going to